And I was at the restaurant yesterday meeting my friend for lunch, and we had a little bowl of soup that was on the side with our main meal, and they didn't even give us a spoon, or there weren't spoons on the table. I was at a restaurant yesterday. I was at a restaurant yesterday meeting my friend for lunch. And we had a little bowl of soup. We had a little bowl of soup that was on the side with our main meal. And they didn't even give us a spoon. They didn't give us a spoon, or there weren't spoons on the table. 스푼을 주지도 않았고 테이블에 스푼들도 없었고. You're just expected to drink that little cup of soup right from the little bowl that it came with. 마셔야 했어. You were just expected to drink that little cup of soup right from the little bowl that it came with. 같이 딸려 나온 접시에 있는 작은 컵 마셔야겠다. So I didn't do it at home. 내가 집에선 그러진 않는데 I do it. I do it at home. 집에선 그래. I do it at home, and I do it sometimes in Korea. 한국에선 가끔 그래. But it's really like restaurant specific. It's really like specific. And I think if I were in Canada, 만약에 내가 거기 있었다면 이랬을 것 같아. I think if I were in Canada, maybe 아마도 I wouldn't 안 그랬을 거야. I wouldn't do that if I were at a nicer restaurant. I think if I were in Canada, maybe I wouldn't do that if I were at a nicer restaurant. I would think that's a little bit too much. 좀 너무 것 같아서 I would think 생각했을 거야. That's a little bit too much. 좀 심했다고 생각했을 거야. 너무했다고? I would think that's a little bit too much. Yeah, I hear you. I guess it depends on the restaurant. I guess it depends on the restaurant. I asked because it's not something I ever did at home or in public. 물어봤어 because it's not something I ever did at home or in public. But Olivier, my partner, he does it. And they do that in France. And sometimes he does that in a restaurant as well. And I just always watch him like, I never do that. But I think it's fine, It's great. It kind of means like, I love it so much. I want to get every last drop. I love it so much. I want to get every last drop. 마지막 한 방울까지도 다 먹을 거야. I want to get every last drop. And it was just a question because it was something I noticed that I was not used to. But that seems totally acceptable. 하니까. Acceptable. I like what you said there, and that is that when you drink your soup, and especially I think we do this at the end, right? I like what you just said there. 방금 내가 말한 거 마음에 들어? I like what you just said. I like what you just said there.
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 Said there. I like what you just said there. And that is that when you drink your soup.
That is that when you drink your soup.
That is that. 그게 그거잖아. That is that when you drink your soup, and especially I think we do this at the end. When it gets hard to scoop up the soup with your spoon. That is that when you drink your soup, and especially I think we do this at the end, right? When it gets hard to scoop up. Gets hard to scoop up the soup. it gets hard to scoop up the soup with your spoon. Usually, that's when you start drinking it. That's when you start drinking it. It's not often that you get like a big hot steaming bowl of soup and just drink it right away. Usually that's when you start drinking it. It's not often that you get like a big hot steaming bowl of soup and just drink it right away. But when you're towards the end, and it's more convenient to drink it. I like what you just said there, and that is that when you drink your soup, and especially I think we do this at the end, right? When it gets hard to scoop up the soup with your spoon, usually that's when you start drinking it. It's not often that you get like a big hot steaming bowl of soup and just drink it right away. But when you're towards the end, and it's more convenient to drink it. It does show that you enjoy it, right? You're like really enjoying your meal. Like really enjoying your meal. And that's something that I've noticed in Korea. That's something that I've noticed in Korea. That's something that I've noticed in Korea. There are some slight differences about what's polite at the table and what's rude at the table. 좀 차이점이 있어. There are some 약간의 차이점? Slight differences. 약간의 차이점이 좀 있어. There are some slight differences about what's polite at the table and what's rude. 뭐가 예의 바르고 뭐가 무례한 건지. And what's rude at the table. 탑에서 뭐가 예의 바르고 뭐가 무례한지에 대해 약간의 차이가 있어. And I think in both cultures, 문화에서 모두, and I think in both cultures, I think in both cultures, both. I think both. 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 I think in both cultures, both가 아니라 both. I think in both cultures, generally, you don't want to make too much noise. You don't want to make too much noise, or you don't want to be disgusting with your eating. disgusting 하게 하고 싶지 못한 거 갑자기. But I have noticed here in Korea that if people are eating a little bit louder, or like slurping their noodles, or maybe drinking their soup or something like that, it's kind of showing that you really are enjoying your meal. I've noticed. I noticed here in Korea that if people are eating, 먹고 있다면, a little bit louder, or like slurping their noodles, or maybe drinking their soup or something like that, it's kind of showing that. It's kind of showing that. It's kind of showing that you really are enjoying your meal. But I've noticed that in Korea that if people are eating a little bit louder, or like slurping their noodles, or maybe drinking their soup, it's kind of showing that you really are enjoying your meal. It's kind of showing that. And people will comment. And people will comment 할 거야. 말할 거야. like 이런 말 하겠지. People will comment. Wow, this guy is like really enjoying his food. Like it must be so delicious. So yeah, it's just like a different point of view. 그냥 관점이 다른 거지. It's just like a different viewpoint. different viewpoint이야. 관점이야. It's just like a different viewpoint, but it's interesting. And that's fascinating to hear that they do that in France as well. 아니, 신기한데?
And that's fascinating to hear that they do that in France as well.
And that's fascinating. 신기한데? Fascinating to hear that they do that in France as well. Yeah, I think similar to my family, my Italian family. If you're eating it kind of fast, then it means that you're really enjoying it, right? If you're eating it kind of fast, then it means that you're really enjoying it. Like, it's so good, you wanna really just devour it. So you wanna really just devour it. It's good. It's so good. So you wanna really just devour it. Whereas when I go to France, for example, they eat very slow. 좀 느리게 먹었어. They take a bite. 일단 한 입 먹고 put down their fork and knife, chew it, maybe look at you, listen to a story. They'll look at you, listen to a story, and take another bite, put down. Yeah, it's very slow. And that was something that I was surprised at when I first went to France and ate out a dinner. So that was something that I was 그게 되게 놀랐던 부분이야. 어떤 부분이야. That 부분이었어. There was something that I was surprised at. That was something that 그랬던 것이었어. That was something that I was surprised at when I first went to France. 내가 처음 갔을 때. When I first went to France and ate out a dinner, or even at my mother-in-law's house, I was very surprised that 되게 놀랐어. 너무 느리게 먹어서. How slow people ate. 얼마나 느리게 먹는지 너무 느리게 먹어서 놀랐어. And they don't have large portions. And they don't have large portions. 많이 먹지도 않더라고. So they are really savoring. 진짜 맛을 정말 계속 의미하고 있어. They are really savoring each bite. 한 입 먹을 때마다. They are really savoring each bite in a smaller amount and in a slower pace. 조금씩 아주 천천히 먹으면서 맛을 위해서 savor. That's probably a much better way to eat in terms of like digesting your food properly and not overeating. And again, that's probably a much better way, 훨씬 나은 방법인 것 같아. To eat, 먹는데 훨씬 나은 방법 같아. 이 관점에서. In terms of like digesting your food properly. Digesting your food properly and not overeating. 제대로 먹고 과식하지 않는다는 면에서 괜찮은 것 같아. That's probably a much better way to eat in terms of digesting your food properly and not overeating. I could also see that being a little bit uncomfortable. See that. Being a little bit uncomfortable. Like if you're meeting your partner's parents for the first time or something like that, and you had to eat really slowly, like these tiny little bites and get the food down slowly. Depending on the social arrangement of the dinner party. It could be maybe more awkward. 좀 더 어색할 것 같아. It could be maybe more awkward. 할 것 같아. But I think, I'm not a doctor, but I would think that's a healthier way to eat than, sometimes the way that we do in North America, where we just eat a lot and we eat quickly.
Really savoring each bite in a smaller
America, where we just eat a lot and we eat quickly.
It's true.
We just eat a lot and we eat quickly. It's true, and I notice also something different about the French culture when we are out to dinner.
It's true, and I notice also something different about the French culture when we're out to dinner, because my family's American and Olivier's family is French, and we've had some instances over the past year where we've been together at dinner, and I noticed that they wait until everyone gets their food at a restaurant to begin eating. And
it's true, and I notice also something.
It's true, and I notice also something different about
French culture when we're out to dinner, because my family is American and Olivier's family is French, and we've had some instances over the past year where we've been together at dinner, and I noticed that 눈치를 챘어. I noticed that they wait until everyone gets their food at the restaurant, until they get get their food at a restaurant. 다 나올 때까지. 음식이 다 나올 때까지. And I noticed that they wait until everyone gets their food, until everyone gets their food at the restaurant to begin eating. And I noticed that they wait, 기다려, until everyone gets their food at the restaurant to begin eating. 위에서. And this is not something that is in all of North America. 이거는 as far as a culture happening, like most of us don't wait until everyone is served because the food is hot, and so we kind of go for it and just to start eating. But with French people, this is not something that is in all of North America as far as a culture happening. Like most of us don't wait until everyone is served because the food is hot, and so we kind of go for it and just start eating. But with the French people, they tend to wait till everyone is served. Is served. Everyone is served. Get their food. Even if they are waiting like 5, 6, 10 minutes. So it can be a little shocking. 좀 충격적이었어. It can be a little shocking. If you're like, oh, shoot. 충격을 받을 수도 있다. It can be a little bit shocking. If you're like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have taken that bite. I shouldn't have taken that bite. Sorry about that, everybody. If your food comes out first, then you might be put in a difficult situation. 만약에 음식 첫 번째로 나오면 되게 어려운 상황에 놓을 수도 있겠다. You might be put in a difficult situation. Totally. Now you can pick on your French fries. That's okay.
Totally. Now you can pick on your French fries. That's okay.
Okay. It's just like can't dive into the main.
Totally. Now you can just pick on your French fries. That's okay.
Totally. Now you can pick on your French fries.
Totally. Now you can pick on your French fries. That's okay. Now
you can pick.
Totally. Now you can pick on your French fries. That's okay. Okay, it's just like can dive into the main course. Totally, that's it. That's what I noticed. That's what I noticed. So that's interesting because personally, maybe this was just like my family, but we always follow the kind of same system where we'd wait for everybody's food to be served, and it was always considered to be a little bit rude to jump in and start eating. Same system. Be served. Wait for everybody's food to be served. And it was always considered to be a little bit rude. It was always considered to be rude, a little bit rude to jump in and start eating. Usually in that situation, the other person will feel kind of burdened. 부담을 느낄 거야. The other person will feel kind of burdened. Burdened that they are making you wait. So they will say, "Oh, just go ahead. 먼저 먹어. Just go ahead. 그냥 먼저 먹어." Oh, just go ahead, like tuck in. You don't have to wait for me. 기다릴 필요 없어. But without that permission of the other person, then it always felt a little bit rude. So I've always followed that as well. But that's caused some problems for me. Now that I'm living in Korea, because usually in Korea, it's like the head of family or maybe the head of a company, whoever is like the top dog in the line of command. Once they start eating, then you can start eating. So for example, when I meet with my wife's family, it's my father-in-law. He's kind of the head of the household. So once he starts eating, well then we can follow after him. But often what happens when I go for dinner at my in-law's place is that my mother-in-law will always be just busy in the kitchen, and she won't sit down at the table. She will still be like cooking and bringing food to the table and that kind of thing. And my father-in-law will just start eating, and then I'm put it in a difficult place because I think it's kind of rude to start eating when my mother-in-law's still like cooking and preparing things. So I feel like I need to wait for her. But then my father-in-law will tell me, "Start eating, come on, let's go." So I'm kind of stuck in the middle of like my culture and Korean culture. 중간에 끼었다. And I don't know what is best to do, but obviously, since I'm in Korea, I try to follow the Korean rules, even though that gives me a slightly uncomfortable feeling. Yeah, I just thought of an idea. You could jump up and say, "Here, let me help you," and then maybe you can help her get to the table faster. So then, believe me, I've tried and that doesn't fly either. I just get shoot. I just get shooed away very quickly. But I like your thinking. I like that idea. Yes, Suzanne. How do you feel like technology at the table? Oh, wow, good question. Technology. It's interesting because I think with the pandemic, a lot of restaurants had menus that are QR codes. So you needed your phone out, and some still do that. Where we went to a restaurant last week where we needed to have our phones out in order to look at the menu, and I don't love it. I kind of like keeping my phone away while I'm eating just to have a break from the notifications and the distractions. How about you, Andrew? What do you think?